Feel free to get started.
Okay, that's great. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. Today's session is about the online platform FeedbackFruits. The purpose of the platform is to enhance student learning by promoting active learning, collaboration, and feedback. KFUPM is piloting the set of tools offered by this platform FeedbackFruits during the current academic year. We already had 2 sessions before at the start of this semester, which provided an orientation to the participants about the 2 important tools, interactive documents and interactive videos. A number of faculty members have implemented these tools in their courses. Today's session will provide participants an orientation about 2 other tools, namely peer review and assignment review pedagogical tools. I'm pleased to introduce Julia Waisoka, who is the implementation manager at FeedbackFruits, along with Martin Mortier, who is the partner manager. So let us welcome Julia, who will introduce us to the peer review and assignment review tools. Julia.
Thank you very much, Nate, and good afternoon, good morning, everyone. It's really our pleasure to host another training with this audience. So thank you so much for taking the time to attend this training, and for our online users, glad that you're recording this session, rewatching this session. As mentioned, my name is Julia, and I had the pleasure in the last months to work with the King 5 faculty on implementing FeedbackFruits. And in today's session, we would like to show you more of the tools that have been used, and also what can you do with them. As mentioned, there's already a lot of faculty using the tools, specifically the engaging and interactive components. If you're more interested in that, we advise you to watch the previous recordings, and we also welcome any questions. For today's session, however, we will focus more on the peer feedback, so the tools that enable you as well as students to provide feedback to others. We would like to start with a short introduction to the value of the peer feedback, and really focus on why is it important to implement those processes. We will then also mention the other tools at FeedbackFruits that we've been implementing with the university. After this, I will show you a brief demo of the FeedbackFruits in Blackboard from a student perspective. And then we'll move on to a hands-on part. We already had a successful 2 sessions before that worked very well. So we've prepared an engaging component where you can experience this assignment as a student in Blackboard. After this, we'll move on to demo, looking over this assignment, and you will also have opportunity at the end of the session to set up your own assignment in your Blackboard course. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please do let us know in the chat. My colleague Marta will be here to supporting any of your questions, so just feel free to share any comments, questions, or feedback throughout. So let's get started. As our session today is focusing on the peer feedback, this is really crucial to understand the importance of it, and why do we really want to implement these processes in the classes. And there are endless benefits of implementing peer reviews in your class. We did focus on the ones that we commonly see with our instructors. First of all, obviously, as everybody knows, peer reviews positively influence the learning processes, ensuring the students are motivated, that they see the outcomes of their work, but they also know what to improve. Giving feedback is also more often valuable than receiving feedback itself. We are cultivating a very important skill of knowing how to provide feedback. So it's really important to cultivate this from the very start. Students often don't have a lot of knowledge on how to do it. So it's important to making sure this is a part of the process as well. Next to this, the peer reviews also provide a space for more discussion. So students not only can share their feedback, but also share any additional comments, questions. It really ensures that they not only just focus on how to do it, but also critically evaluate the submission or the process itself. And last but not least, also it helps students with familiarizing themselves with the assessment criteria, so they exactly know what they're assessed on and how they can improve. And there are a couple of considerations prior to setting up a peer review. I'm sure that most of you have already implemented some form of peer feedback in your class. Maybe it was a feedback coming from you instead of the students, but working with a lot of the universities, we spotted some of the considerations that are good to keep in mind. And first of all is the objective. It's really crucial to let students know what the value of the assignment is and why are they doing it. We often come across situations where students not really want to do it. They just want to make sure that they get a grade or that they pass an assignment. So it's really crucial making sure that students know they get it to improve their papers or maybe mastering a certain skill. In order to guide students through this process, we provide a set of different options that focus on rubrics, scale ratings, open comments, to making sure that you have also a variety of different ways of incorporating that feedback. So you not only focus maybe on the numerical field, how students are doing, but rather also provide the qualitative feedback. And in terms of the logistics, there are also a couple of things to keep in mind. For instance, the timing, making sure that you leave enough time for students to complete their reviews. Also taking into account any exams or other things that students need to complete, making sure that they have enough time for this. You can also implement anonymity. We know that sometimes students feel more comfortable sharing their feedback, questions when they're anonymized. And also something to keep in mind is whether you want to release the feedback immediately to students or rather if you want to go over it first, ensuring that this is of a good quality and that everybody will be satisfied. And last but not least is also the grading component. I'm sure that some of you already implemented the peer feedback in a formative way, maybe not yet in a summative way. What we do sometimes see is that students provide feedback to each other in a formative way, but then the instructor comes in and grades the paper or the presentation and already provides the grade at the end of it. So if you do want to go through this process, this is also providing students with more opportunity to practice, but then receive their grade from instructor at the end. And what can be peer reviewed? Obviously, there's plethora of options, but you can obviously start with a written deliverables. Anytime students need to write an essay or case study, or maybe a report, you can simply encourage them to provide the formative feedback to each other so they know how to improve the next iteration of that submission, and they know how to write a better quality paper. You can include it also on the video submissions. We see that currently more authentic assessments are coming, so students are encouraged to record a video or prepare a presentation as a sort of alternative to a paper. You will be able to also do that, encourage students to provide timely feedback on videos. You can also do that on posters and graphics, ensuring students' creativity. We also seen a lot of use cases with audio recordings, maybe practicing students' comprehension on a given subject, but also ensuring that they know any secondary sources. So with all that knowledge, I wanted to sort of bridge that into FeedbackFruits and what do we do and how we can help you facilitating these processes. At FeedbackFruits, our mission is to make better teaching easy to organize, and we've been doing that with over 200 higher education institutions across the world, ensuring that everyone has the means to implement the best teaching practices. And we have co-created a tool suite of 15 tools with all of our universities, ensuring that you can tap on those different pedagogies and challenges, such as facilitating the peer feedback. And what you can see on the screen, there are two different buckets that address those different pedagogical challenges. The first one is the feedback and assessment, which we are focusing on today. And it's a set of different tools that focus on everything related to feedback. So with our peer review tool that we'll be focusing on today, it allows you to give students the platform to provide feedback to one another. You can also do that with the assignment review, but in this case, you are in the driver's seat and you are the one providing feedback to students. With other tools, they're also focusing on feedback, but rather focusing more on the skills and performance of students. So we have no deliverable here, but rather focusing on just giving feedback in general. The group member evaluation tool will be focusing on this tool specifically in our next training, as it's really pivotal for organizing any group work and streamlining this process. Whether even if you have a huge classes, if you want to gain more transparency into these processes and also help students with their feedback giving skills, the group member evaluation will be the tool to go to. And we also have additional tools such as the self-assessment and automated feedback. Here we have the AI generated suggestions on students' writing skills, and also with the group formation, you can streamline the group creation in Blackboard. In the collaboration and engagement basket, we have tools that help instructors gain more engagement and interaction in the class, such as when you are submitting interactive video or a document, you can implement various questions and discussion prompts. You can also do that with the discussion tool, where you can engage students more in online discussion threads. And we also have tools for more quizzing. So I do encourage you to have a look into those tools, really depending on what pedagogy you're looking into. And with all of the tools, you also get analytics, templates, and learning journeys, ensuring that you can create those activities in a very timely manner, but also that you can reuse them later on. So as I've mentioned, our focus is on the peer review and assignment review. The objective is to show you how you can implement that in Blackboard in a very sufficient way. So we have prepared already templates for you that you can utilize. And I would like to just spend a few more minutes on describing each of the tools so you know what to expect. After this, we'll move on to a demo in Blackboard. So with the peer review, the tool basically allows you to allow students to provide feedback to one another based on a deliverable. So students go into the assignment, they submit a draft, a paper, maybe a presentation, and then there is time for them to peer review the deliverable of another peer. After this, they will be able to read the feedback they've received, write optional reflection, and get a grade. And this is how the process looks like. There are many benefits from implementing this activity. I won't be go over this again, as basically you can facilitate the peer review process in this tool. But what it really also allows you is to gain a lot of insights into the peer review process and how students are writing, how students are evaluating one another. So you have a lot of information from this assignment. You also have the ability to implement customizable rubrics and replicate those rubrics if you already have them in your current assignments. So this is really focusing on student-to-student work, but we also provide you with the very, very similar tool, but assignment review in this case allows the instructor to give feedback to students. So you can implement this activity in the more summative way in case you are currently evaluating students maybe with a pen and paper, or maybe using another program. You can try the assignment review, as it provides you with a very clear, simple way of evaluating the submissions of students that can end with a grade in your Blackboard. I haven't mentioned that, but we do integrate with Blackboard fully, and that gives you the option, the benefits of pushing the grades back to Blackboard. So whenever students are granted the grade, they immediately get it back in their gradebook. You can also synchronize groups and deadlines so that students get timely reminders whenever they need to finish their assignments. And that's available for both of the tools. With also additional key features, as I mentioned, you do have the option to copy assignments. So whenever you use one rubric, you will be able to replicate that through other tools. You can also reuse your current templates. What we see very often is that peer evaluations are being implemented throughout the course. So it's not just one-time activity, but rather practice that's being repeated over time. And this is how it also works in the best way possible so that you can compare how students have improved. You'll be able to also copy those activities in that manner. Also, next to the summative and formative assessments, you can also implement those in various modalities. So you'll be able to implement peer reviews as a homework assignment or maybe as a preparation for the final activity, but you can also do it during class. You can open this activity for maybe 1 hour. Students can peer review each other, after which you can gain the results. And with all of the tools, you also have the AI enhancement. I know that everyone is very busy, especially if you have a really huge class, you might not have the time and the means to communicate how students can get and write good quality feedback. So we do implement AI pedagogical assistant that helps students with their writing. As they're going to their activity, as they will be peer reviewing the deliverable of somebody or their own, they will always get suggestions. So I will be also showing that in the demo so we can see firsthand how we can implement that. But I highly suggest using that. And also in case you're using other tools like the engagement and interactive assignments, you can also get the benefit of the AI tool that helps you with creating the type of questions and discussion prompts. So that's all for now in terms of the introduction. I would like to now move on to a demo of one of the activities. And in the meantime, I also welcome any questions in case there are any, in case any clarification is needed.
And everyone has access to a course in Blackboard. Its title is Workshop on FeedbackFruits, October 2024. So the demo will be in that course in Blackboard.
Thank you very much, Junaid. Yes, we will have the hands-on session in around 3 to 5 minutes. Prior to that, I would like to first show you how you can experience that assignment, so you know how to complete the hands-on part, but also how students can experience this assignment in Blackboard. So what you are currently seeing on my screen is the peer review activity where we ask students to submit the deliverable. You can imagine this being sort of a pre-final assignment where students get to review each other's draft. After this, students will need to complete the self-evaluation of the deliverable, as well as complete one review of a peer. After this, they will be able to read their received feedback and optionally comment, ask questions, or respond to the reviewer. The last part is the grading. We'll be able to release the grades at any point in time. So in order to for students to hand in a deliverable, all they have to do is click on the More Files button. They can always submit a deliverable either from their device, but they can also paste an open link. Maybe they recorded a video on open source, on YouTube platform, or any other website. They will be able to paste it. They can also record themselves speaking. So you can use a variety of different options. I have included one assignment that I can just show you how to hand it in. You can see it loaded very quickly. And after submitting it, I'll be able to go and review those deliverables. So I can click on Start Reviewing, and this will open a window where I can see the submission itself, and below I can see the criteria. I recommend you going immediately into the deliverable so you can provide a feedback and attach it to a specific part of the document or video. So I'm going to click on Open. This will open the deliverable either video, presentation, document, of course, being more popular. And I can simply go into a specific part of that, click on Add Comment, and then you can see the criteria opens on the right hand, and I can write my feedback. As I will be writing my feedback, below you will see the feedback coach that will give me suggestions how to improve it. So this is my feedback to myself, and I can read that the feedback coach told me my feedback is not constructive because it doesn't address a specific criteria. So what I need to do is I need to work on it further. And I also need to pin it to a specific criterion, maybe the overall feedback. So as you can see, it really gives me a lot of good suggestions that I can implement. I highly suggest you using that and trying out and just basically seeing how it's responding. In addition, I'll be also able to always add a voice note, maybe record myself speaking, or maybe attach additional file to make it more, just to make it richer. After this, I will be able to post it. And I can go ahead with all of the criterias and simply give the feedback like this. As you can see, we've implemented a couple of rubrics criteria on several levels. You'll be able to customize those prior to launching an activity, and you can make it more extensive or more narrow. We've also implemented an overall feedback when it's required for me to provide some evaluation. And I can post a comment. Once we have finalized all of the criteria, we can see that this is end of giving my feedback. So I will be able to go back to the main interface, click on the next button, click on start reviewing, and I will see the deliverable of my other peer. In this case, this is a document. I will be able to open it, click again. Alternatively, you can also just use the criteria like this and give a comment in this section. After you're done with the feedback, or maybe when halfway through it, you can see the progress bar, and afterwards you can also read the received feedback. So as you can see, it will open the comments, the ones that I wrote myself or I got from others, and you can upvote and reply to those. Again, you can also use those engaging alternatives here. And if we go back, after I release my grades, I will be also able to see the final grade. Let me just very quickly push the grades so that you can also see it. There we go. I've published the grades so I can see my final results here. Whenever you get a comment, you also get notifications, so you're reminded or where you need to go. You can just click on that link and it will redirect you to that page. In case you also have questions, there is a Monday to Friday support chat with our colleagues to help you out. So this is how you would finalize this assignment as a student. We have prepared the exact same assignment for you to complete in this training. I'll stop sharing my screen. I will briefly show you all the instructions and what you need to go through. However, if you already have opportunity to log into your Blackboard as a student, that would be great. You will there find soon an assignment that you would need to go in and complete exactly as I did just now. So let me just reshare the instructions so you have it. And I'm going to share the link to the activity in just a second. All right. And if you could please go into access the link that I just posted in the chat. You will land an assignment, and then you will go through all the steps that I just completed on the screen. If somebody could please try it to let me know that it works, that would be great.
I'm sorry, do you mean the link is posted on the Zoom chat?
Yes, correct. Yeah, thank you for asking.
I can't find any link on the group on the Zoom chat.
No problem, I'll repost it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there, but it's not working, I think.
It is saying, is your institution not listed? Log in with email.
Yeah, no, actually, you have to first log into the Blackboard in your browser, and then it works. If you just copy and paste without logging into the Blackboard, then it's not working. So you have to be signed into the Blackboard. Yeah. So you have to be signed in to the Blackboard.
And I can already see some of you entering this assignment from my end, so that's a good sign. For those that already managed to go into this activity, I'm also going to post 2 deliverables that you can just use for this assignment. So I know that maybe not all of you have a student submission on your end, so I just sent 2 deliverables, one being a document, other a video that you can submit. Feel free to download it and use it.
Still, there is an issue with the link. I couldn't log in, even though I'm opening my Blackboard.
Yeah, in the Blackboard, I think there is already a link added. Maybe you can just use this directly. So go to the Blackboard.
Okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
What is it inside the assignment?
It should be on the home page under course content. Students provide each other feedback on submitted work. That's the title of the link.
Yes, I'm ready to. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we would like to spend maybe 6 more minutes on this assignment, so please feel free to take time until it's 1:35 to complete this activity.
So you want people to submit and then look at other people's submission and provide feedback.
That's correct, yes. So the submission, then is the self-assessment, so going through that.
Okay, self-assessment, and then perhaps also commenting on other people's work. Yes.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Yes, I can see some submissions.
Indeed. After a couple of minutes, I will also share my screen so you can see exactly who submitted and what the progress is, as you would normally do as an instructor. We'll just give everyone maybe 1-2 minutes.
Yes.
Excuse me, what to submit?
Yes, you can submit any type of deliverable, a paper, presentation. I put it in the chat, 2 examples, so you can maybe use the final analysis submission. You can just download the PDF and then submit it. Is that clear?
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. No worries. This is just a test activity, so you can just submit whatever you have. And yes, I can also see one person cannot log in. Would you be able to log in first as a student and then click or like refresh the screen again?
Hi, I'm currently on the session. I've uploaded my file, but I'm not able to access.
It should be possible in the third step in the given reviews. You should be able to see whatever you submitted and click on this.
I can see my name with self-assessment unhanded in work. On clicking this, I don't have anything to do.
Could you maybe refresh the screen? That should
Okay,
help. It should trigger the opening.
okay. Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay, perfect. Good.
Thank you.
I uploaded my file, but I can only see that I can give feedback to ambitious magenta grapefruit, but not to my file. So I cannot do my self-assessment. So how can I do that?
Strange. Would you be able to just refresh your screen? You should always be able to do the self-assessment before.
Okay. So after refreshing, yeah, I've uploaded one file.
Mm-hmm.
Now if I give feedback to yourself and peers, so should I click continue reviewing?
Yes, yeah. It
Yeah,
should
okay.
open it.
So once I go to continue reviewing, then I see a message awaiting your progress just below my file. I don't know. Okay, I can open it now.
You can maybe try
Yeah, I
submit
can.
one more
Yeah, it's
file.
working. It's working fine. Working fine. Yeah, I
Okay,
can do it. Thank you. Thank you.
no problem.
I can't do it. I've given feedback myself, but I can't seem to find how I can give feedback to somebody else.
I see, I see. Because we do have a small number of participants, it could be the case that somebody still didn't submit their deliverable and therefore you're not allocated. So I advise just wait a little bit and
Okay.
yeah, otherwise it's just the self-assessment. Thank you for making that comment. Yeah.
Just so then in the context of students, if let's say not all students complete a self-assessment, does that mean that there may be students who won't be able to access their feedback because there weren't enough students submitting?
In rare cases, it does happen that if a student maybe drops out or doesn't submit their deliverable, that other student is not allocated and doesn't receive the review. What we do recommend is having always more than one reviewer. For the purpose of this training, we set it up only to one, but in normal class, you would do it maybe with two, or you would do it within a group. So that really ensures that students get at least one feedback. And additionally, what you can do is you can always override the allocation, making sure that you group students that actually submitted.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Yes.
Maybe another point to clarify, for the purpose of this session, we haven't set a deadline for the submission step. And then also for the additional giving review step. But that's something we do recommend so that, yeah, at least a lot of students have submitted before then going to the next step where they are allocated. Of course, in this scenario, it's a bit maybe uncommon as people are still submitting and other people are already starting with giving feedback. And normally this wouldn't be the case, of course.
So can we link these assessment scores to students' grades directly from here?
Yes, absolutely. So at this point, we made it a summative assessment, so I will be able to release the grades. I'm gonna do that in just a second, so you also be able to see it on your end. But you can definitely provide a grade, and that will be reflected in Blackboard Gradebook.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give everyone maybe 1 more minute to finalize. After this, I will share my screen and we will see the results. All right, and I'm going to share my screen with the activity so we can actually see it, the progress that you've made and how it looks like from the teacher perspective. And I also want to make a comment that you finalized this activity as a student, but you can also do it as a teacher, and it will work in exactly the same way, apart from submitting the deliverable, of course. That's something that students would do on their end, and you would just provide the feedback in an exactly same manner. So if you have more activities, classes where you are providing the feedback, then that's also perfectly possible. All right, then let's have a look into the activity that you just completed. If some of you are still finalizing it, please feel free to take your time. This activity is also going to be open after this training, so you can have a look at it later on as well. So this is our activity. As you can see, as an instructor, I can pretty much preview all of the steps. It looks very similar. I can see the instructions, all the submissions, all the feedback that was given, the feedback that was read, as well as the grading at the end. The main difference is, of course, that we do have the analytics and information from this activity. So when I hover over the statistics per active student, this will first give me the impression or where the class is in terms of their reviews. So I can see exactly who has finalized which step. I can see that I think roughly more than half of you at least entered this activity and half of you have submitted deliverable. This also goes for giving feedback. Some of you have already completed all of it. And we also have one person that has also completed reading the feedback. So congratulations, it's really nice to see. I can also see the overall students' grade. We have set up our grading based on the compilation of this assignment. So I can see that, yeah, this class is doing actually pretty well. So well done. after checking on the progress, you can also see the kind of analytics that are zoomed out, that they're updating real time how many of you have completed this activity and also the time spent. After this, I'll be able to move on to the submissions just to see what type of files have been handed in. And we can see that we have one, I think, zip file, maybe Excel, and the rest are the documents. I can also download all of these submissions in case I want to have it in one file. And now it comes the place where we can actually see how this class is progressing and where you're at with the reviews. So what I always recommend doing is going to the show ratings, because that will give us the heat map, so like visual representation of where you're at with the reviews. So what we can gather from it is that from the content rubric, specifically the focus and scope, most of you scored proficient, whereas the application of knowledge, that's more spread. We move on further. We can see spelling is doing very well. So that's good to see. Maybe grammar, not so much. So it really provides you with a good understanding of where you're at. You can also do that with the self-assessment. What we often see, self-assessment is higher than other feedbacks. And this is kind of also the case in here. So you have this possibility of checking it. What I can also do is I can go right into more individual reviews. So what we just see is the class overview, but I can also view the reviews and really see everyone, what you submitted and also what the comments were. So navigating with this bar at the top, I can also check who has completed it. And afterwards, where the value comes in, I can read the received feedback. So I can, for example, see if there are any comments here, overall feedback. As you can see, and as you saw in this activity, we have the anonymity enabled. So you don't know the identity of that student. That can help with being more constructive. However, as an instructor, I will always see the name of the students. And as a teacher, I can always upvote the comments, but I can also reply. And this is where the value comes in. So I will be able to also engage in this and maybe add a voice note as well. And this is where you can communicate with your students. You can also move on to more reviews as such. And one thing I also wanted to point out is you can also be a reviewer in this activity. If you go to the received reviews part after the assignment started, you can add yourself as a reviewer as well. And what it does is it just adds me as a separate reviewer, as you can see. So I'll be also able to evaluate the work of the peer in the same manner. So you have a couple of options here. You can either be additional reviewer in this activity or create a completely separate assignment in the assignment review where you are the only evaluator reviewer. And after you check on the reviews, you can go to the grading. I know there was a question about it. If we go to the full screen mode, it provides you with a nice overview of the scores. And what's important to know is you can always adjust the grade of the peers. So maybe let's have a look. We have Dr. Sabir here, maybe I believe, yeah, it should be 100% for this student here. Maybe they didn't have an equal chance with others, so you can always adjust it. And afterwards, you can publish it to Blackboard. I'm going to click on the publish grade. And on your screen, if your assignment is still open, you will now see the grading module opened, and you can see the overview of your all grades. You can also schedule publishing a date. So maybe you want to do it a little bit further in time. You'll be also able to do that and save it. So this is how the assignment looked like. In terms of editing it, You can always do that in the edit button that will enable you to either edit it prior to releasing it, or if you do it at the beginning. Each assignment constitutes of instructions where you can add the value of this activity. We've also included some attachments on the rubric. You can then choose the student collaboration option, whether students are working individually or within group. Then it comes the submission module. You will be able to add deadlines. As Martin mentioned, you can add those deadlines that really ensure students have time up until they need to submit it, but also that we will gather the submissions, after which we can release them and everyone will have a more chance of being evaluated and allocated. You also have additional settings in here, and then we move on to the given reviews. Within the feedback criteria, here's your place to adjust your criteria, such as rubric, scale, or comment only. You can also use templates that we have at the very beginning, so you don't have to create your own. And also, I believe you use the AI code for writing quality feedback. You can find it under the guiding students option. And the last part is the grading. By clicking configure, you can add all modules on which you want to grade students. Also, each assignment can be saved as a template. By saving it as a template, it enables you to reuse it over time across multiple courses. So I can save it as a template, and in just a moment, I'm going to show it to you how you can access this. You will also be able to send a copy to a colleague or an instructor with whom you're co-creating it. It can be a very valuable way of sharing activity with somebody you are working on in that course. So that is all for reviewing this activity. I think I also didn't mention that you can export all of this in Excel files. So in case you want to have a look into these analytics outside of FeedbackFruits, that's also possible. What I would like to also do now is to have a more hands-on practice how to create an activity in Blackboard. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and basically go through the steps of creating that assignment. So please, if you have opportunity to log off from the current course and log in as a teacher, as an instructor, that'll be very valuable so we can go over this process together. I also saw one question about the Turnitin. Yes, we do integrate with Turnitin, so students can upload the paper and run it through Turnitin. I don't believe we have yet integrated this part with Blackboard, so you likely won't find it in the settings list, but that's something we can work on, and it's possible to integrate. Okay, so if I can give everyone maybe 1 minute to log into your Blackboard course as an instructor, please do so. And we'll walk you through how to create an assignment in Blackboard. I'm going to do this probably 2 times. The process is fairly easy. First things first, you have to just log into your Blackboard course and navigate one of the courses. It can be a sandbox, maybe test course. You can also do it in your original course. After this, we need to navigate to build content. And under build content, you'll see quite a lot of names, and FeedbackFruits will be one of them. So we're going to click on FeedbackFruits, and that will immediately open a menu with the options to get started. Depending on whether this is your very first time opening FeedbackFruits, or maybe you already done it before, you might see some different options here. But generally, I always recommend starting with FeedbackFruits in the learning design community. This option will provide you with pre-made templates from each of the tool that already have embedded instructions, features, rubrics. So you can simply use that and then make alternations. You can also start from zero just by creating your own assignment. After clicking on Start from Scratch, you'll see a list of all of the tools we looked into at the beginning of the training, and you can get started. If this is your second time or more using FeedbackFruits, you also see My Library and Past Activities. In My Library, you simply will see all the templates that you saved, like we did a few minutes before. In Past Activities, I'm going to see my assignments, the assignments of my colleagues that were created in my course. So I can simply go and grab it and use it. For the purpose of the training, I do recommend going into the Learning Design community. You can simply click on the module and you will find a list of all of the pre-configured activities. As we've spoken mostly about the peer review, I do recommend looking into some other tools. We can also go into the assignment review, where it's an instructor who provides the feedback. So we can see a little bit of a difference how it looks. I'll be able to preview the learning steps of this activity and copy and edit it. And this is our pre-made template. You can see all of the modules here. We already have feedback criteria configured. In the feedback criteria, you can also utilize additional rubrics such these. All you have to do is click on it, save it, and will already be populated in this assignment. You can always delete some of those, make any adjustments as needed. Also, same goes for the grading. You can also schedule additional deadlines if you wish. And after this, you can click on save. At any point in time, you can go back to this activity and make any changes. So this is the process. Then creating activity from a template requires just a couple of minutes. I do recommend going through the templates first. You can also go to build content, FeedbackFruits, and then going and start from scratch. You can, of course, explore all of the other tools that would really help you just getting familiar with all of the different pedagogies. And that's it for the process. I'm curious to hear if there are any questions. I haven't seen questions on the process of creating assignment itself. I believe it's quite straightforward, but curious to hear if there are any questions so far.
Yes, we have about 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, please go ahead through the chat, or you can turn on your speaker, mic, sorry.
I have a question, if you allow me. Are the assignments connected to the full grade center? So once you grade it, it will appear on Blackboard?
Yes, exactly. So once you add the published grades, they will immediately appear in the Blackboard gradebook. Exactly. So we have the published grade button here. If you open the grade center in Blackboard, they'll create basically a separate column with that assignment. Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a question, if you allow me.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Regarding just like if I'm an instructor and I'm uploading some course contents like some presentation slides or some handouts for the students, after the lecture on that material, is there a way that the students can do some reflection on the contents of that topic as well as the way it was delivered? So how can that be done?
Great question. Thank you for asking. In the edit mode of the activity, you can add additional modules, and it might include some AI feedback on writing, and one of them is the reflection. I haven't added for the sake of the simplicity of this activity, but you can add a reflection and save this activity. And that will basically trigger the activity at the end to allow students to reflect on this assignment. Let me just very briefly refresh my page so I can show it to you. It will add the module at the end so students can write their feedback. It will look something like this. You can also add additional guiding questions, ensuring that students know what they need to reflect on. And this is not connected to the rubric. It's just a general reflection. You can also grade students on completing this step.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. One thing I also wanted to add, since we've had a look with Marta at the activity itself, is that you can annotate the document or the video, the submission, and provide feedback that it's attached to a specific part of it. If I can go to one of the deliverables here, I can open it, and perhaps that's something you might have not seen. You can simply annotate the entire document itself. So I can add myself as a reviewer first. This will allow me to edit the paper. I can go inside. This can be a very beneficial addition, as you can see, because then I can really pin my feedback towards specific part of the deliverable. So it can be timely and students exactly know where it's attached to. That's one comment I wanted to make.
Okay, thank you. Then
Just
are there any more
one
questions?
follow-up question. In Grade Center, when Blackboard Grade Center, I see it has created 3 columns for one assignment. Can we have only one column for the assignment? I see there is a total student feedback, instructor feedback. So if you give couple of assignment, there will be too many columns. So if we want to export just one column to the Grade Center total instead of sending all the 3 columns. Is there any option to do that?
One assignment should create one column only. So there will be only a couple of columns in case you have maybe 3 assignments like this, but one activity will only create one column in gradebook.
But in this course, there are 3 columns, but we have only created one assignment.
So what I see, the total is not from FeedbackFruit, but there are 2 columns. One is instructor feedback and one is student, student provided feedback. The total one is from Blackboard. So
okay.
Yeah.
So
in this case, I think, somehow the tool is making 2 columns, one based on a student and one based on instructors.
Okay.
But generally, it should only create one column.
So maybe I can share this on the screen just to
please go ahead.
Get the clarification. Share. Okay, so yeah, these are the 2 columns. Is this something expected? So
yes, I've also created additional assignment.
Oh yeah. So that's it's coming because of this.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for checking. This is a real life example. So that's good to hear. Just last thing I wanted to share is that we are also hosting another training next week on Monday, same time, focusing on the group work. We will share resources and support, and thank you very much for attending today. If you have any feedback, comments, please do let me know about it, and we look forward to see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia, for the session. And as Julia said, we are going to have another session next week on Monday at the same time. and it will be open for registration tomorrow. So in our KFUPM digest, you are going to receive a link through which you will be able to register. So, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great week,
Nice
everyone.
presentation.
Thank
Thank you.
you.